Welcome. And welcome to our first meditation reflection session together of 2022. I share with so many of you incredulity at the passage of time that almost always at moments of transition or accomplishment or growth or even loss seems to strain our ability to believe that a certain amount of time has actually passed. In just the last few days, more than once, I have shared the sentiment, 2022, that's crazy. It is crazy because we are well into the 21st century when it feels as if the year 2000 arrived just a few years ago. Because time goes faster as we grow older, because the pandemic is now entering its third calendar year, even though it has not been with us for 3 years, because we expected this year to begin differently than it has for any number of personal, professional, or public reasons. Inevitably, inexorably, 2022 is here. And with it, a whole host of feelings, reactions, and responses to the possibilities presented by the arrival of a new year. Before we proceed, however, let us take our first break to breathe as we acknowledge that the reality of our here and now is this day, early in January of 2022. So let's take our meditative postures, again with our feet planted firmly on the floor or as close to the floor as you can get them. Or you might prefer to stand or even to lie down. Let us sit attentively, but with a sense of ease, and do a bit of inventory so that we might release the scallops on our heads, the hair growing out of them, our foreheads, our jaws, our mouths, and then we can hopefully release our necks, even hear them crack a bit as we might roll them about. We could scrunch up our shoulders and let them go in a release. And then consciously let go of our tummies that we hold frequently so tightly with anxiety or with stress or with worry. Let us allow our arms to relax and place our hands open in our laps. Again, releasing our hands and the tension that we hold there for much of our days. And then our legs, I think we're not quite as aware of those as places for holding tension, but they do. And we might wiggle them a bit or shake them up and down, or tap our feet and wiggle our toes. And then I always begin by, I always close my eyes. That's a way of just separating this time and this space from everything else that grabs our attention. And if closing your eyes is not helpful, then just gaze gently, gaze softly at something in front of you. And when we're ready, let's just take a big, deep, wonderful breath. And with it, the acknowledgement that we are breathing in this 2022 year. We're breathing it in all the way, deeply, fully, possibly with a yawn, because that's the release mechanism we've actualized. And we imagine the breath going to all the corners of our insides, touching us. from the tops of our foreheads or our brains, maybe even to the tips of our fingers, to the tips of our toes. And then with equal feeling, equal joy even, we let go. Sometimes in a whoosh, sometimes more slowly as we feel the air escape from our bodies. And then we rest for a moment at the bottom of our release before we inhale again, fully, deeply, completely, with a sense of the healing power of our breath filling us with a fullness that does not allow for the anxieties to also have a place, at least for just these few minutes, because right now, in this moment, oh, I'm so sorry. Right now, in this moment, nothing but our breathing is happening. What may have been is gone. Whatever we were in the midst of when we sat down and decided to take these few moments, it will be there when we are finished, and perhaps we will have a bit of perspective on it when we return. And what is to be, we cannot know. We can anticipate certain things, and most of the time we are correct. But the exact shape and form and affect of whatever is awaiting us, we will know when we get there. So here we are. In the very early days of January 2022. It made me think how at one point, 1984, the George Orwell book was the year in the future. And then 2000, remember, at midnight, we thought computers might crash. 2001 was identified by the space odyssey. And we're already at 2022. Even as it is hard to believe, it is wondrous, wondrous, miraculous, a gift. Let us breathe in that reality. It is a gift to be alive in the year 2022 with all of its challenges, and they are significant, and with all of its possibilities and resources. We breathe in again. At whatever pace is right for you. Everyone's will be different. Given last week's reflections, And much of what I will share with you this week, I find that I am admitting to some of my long-held biases and prejudices in what I also hope does not sound like a forum for true confessions. The arrival of the secular New Year invariably makes me think of the Jewish New Year or New Year's. We are most familiar with Rosh Hashanah, the calendar New Year in the Jewish cycle, which is most like our January 1st. But in ancient times, there were 3 additional New Years. The New Year of the trees that we know as Tu B'Shvat, the New Year for tithing, which was the beginning of the fiscal year, much as our July 1st frequently is, or even an April 15th in a certain kind of way. And the New Year of the Kings, which was the date on which every new king's reign was said to begin, even if the king had ascended the throne days, weeks, or even months before the designated New Year of the Kings arrived, before that arrived. This was so that the reigns of kings could be justified with each other and record keeping could be consistently maintained. While part of the justification for 4 New Years is administrative, it seems to me that there is a message in the multiplicity of these milestones that suggests the ongoing possibility for change, for renewal, for recharging, and starting again. That is, of course, the spiritual message of our Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The gates of repentance, the gates of change, the gates of renewal are always open and always beckoning to us. That feels very different to me than our secular New Year with its boisterous frivolity and unrelenting good cheer. In Judaism, at Rosh Hashanah, we look carefully within ourselves to identify where we missed the mark in our behavior and our relationships. We seek forgiveness from those whom we have hurt or wronged in any way, and we ask God to forgive us for all of the ways in which we have not lived our best lives with our most ethical, righteous, and compassionate selves. Our secular New Year is not designed for such introspection, it seems to me. In my mind, that is part of the reason many individuals have difficulty with it. I have always been grateful when, as it was this year, New Year's Eve falls on Shabbat. It seems so civilized and reasonable with Shabbat as its backdrop. Even the concept of New Year's resolutions is not the same as our process of Teshuva, of seeking forgiveness and returning to our best selves. As educator and author Dasi Berkowitz recently wrote, the word resolution connotes determination to remediate a shortcoming we've identified in ourselves. The image of a resolution is linear. By contrast, the Jewish language for change is teshuva, or return. Teshuva invites us into a process that includes identifying where we missed the mark and returning to our best selves in an effort to redress our shortcomings. Teshuva requires a heavy dose of reflective thinking in order to understand how to move away from the behavior that led us to the desire to change in the first place. Different from a resolution, the image I have for Teshuva is circular. There is something more forgiving about a circle than a line. If we miss the mark the first time around, it's okay. Maybe next time we will reach our goal. By contrast, the image of a line is more punitive. If we miss the mark with our resolution, we need to go back to the beginning of the line and start all over again. I'm not sure that I agree entirely with her imagery, but I do think there is a distinction to be made between a resolution and the process of Teshuva, which I might depict as an ascending spiral. We may go backwards on the spiral, but hopefully, every time we begin again, we are a little bit further along in the process. Resolutions do seem a bit all or nothing and tend to be very self-directed. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to finish cleaning out my closets, and so on. They are task and self-directed. If I'm not mistaken, at least pre-COVID, every January was the biggest month of the year for joining gyms and fitness centers. In fact, there's nothing inherently wrong with resolutions. They tend to address our concerns with health and well-being. It occurs to me, however, that unless we can adopt some of our Teshuva practices for the fulfillment of resolutions, our annual resolutions will be just that, adopted year after year, only to be abandoned until we adopt them again the next year. If we consider our secular New Year as one of several New Years, as the Jewish New Years are, we might start bringing a different sensibility to the day and the possibility for change it represents. I can imagine the high-spirited fun and excitement of our secular celebration transformed into something no less joyous, but deeper and richer for the enduring impact and influence it could have. Let us spend a few more moments breathing the transformative possibilities of this moment. Possibilities our Jewish tradition believes are present every day of our lives. So we breathe together. Let's reassume our good postures and our unfocused gaze, our closed eyes, our relaxed bodies, but our attentiveness. And we breathe in. Possibility. Optimism, possibly. Realism. A sense that there are opportunities awaiting. Opportunities of many kinds. That hopefully will unfold in this new year. And if there are things we thought about at the time of our Jewish New Year, this is a time to renew those thoughts, to revisit them, to weigh them, and consider if we should pursue them again, or more fervently, or drop them altogether. This is our reality, right here, right now. As we fill our bodies and then release. We breathe in the settling in of ourselves into this year. We are placing ourselves, we are settling ourselves in this new year. With every deep breath and with every release, I hope you will continue just the process of breathing in and out and concentrating on the breath in, filling up and out with its release. By way of conclusion of our time together, however, I would share with you a blessing for entering the new year, subtitled, "And for Journeying Onward Anytime, Anywhere," written by my colleague, Rabbi Paul Kipnis. On the next part of your journey into a new year or a new career, as you make a new friend, or to your heart, do tend, we wish you b'hatzlacha, good luck. May your eyes open to glorious sights that will make your heart beat faster. And may your breathing slow enough to embrace the meaningfulness of it all. May your mind expand to explore new ideas and consider new possibilities. And may your thinking constrict enough to impede the inevitable kvetches and self-deprecating self-critique. May your sense of self morph and strengthen as you experience what no longer is, but what now just might be. May your awareness of what is and can be expand beyond what was and what you expected. And may the journey ahead be jam-packed with joy, joined with serious self-reflection, fullness of family and friends, amidst an abundance of fun, insight, inspiration, and more than a touch of idealism, with love sweetened with laughter, and healthy living, working, and being. And may you interact with and as part of an increasingly Hamisha humanity. Thus may you fill your heart and soul so that the journey ahead into the unknown may be exciting, energizing, and absolutely enough. I wish you a good first week of January 2022 with best wishes for a good, healthy, strong, sweet, abundant new year in every possible way. I will see you next time. God bless.